A movement shooter is a game that has movement and shooter. All caught up? Good. I've been sitting on this topic ever since I caught a whiff of Ultrakill's movement tech, and I think it's about time I squeeze this one out. That's right, starting with a shit joke. Gonna be a great video. I've decided, of my own volition, to make a video talking about 5 movement-based shooters that I have chosen, whether good or bad, and almost none of them are bad. The whole core mechanic behind even the most basic movement game is holding W and spamming whatever, take your pick. You can dash, slide, slide jump, ground slam, slam slide. God, that's a lot of sliding. Slam storage, rocket jump, rocket ride, grav star boost, the whole list goes on and on. And then there's games that have jump pads or a speed booster and a grapple, all while mixing quote-unquote fluid gunplay and or giant fucking robots.
Hey, that's a pretty smooth segue!
Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is probably the smoothest multiplayer movement game I've played in a long while. Considering you can fly yourself halfway across the map in one jump, you'd think that it's a little unbalanced, and, well, you'd be right. Sometimes I join a server and immediately get jumped by 3 dudes, all sliding in from their respective doorways, running across the walls, and just emptying everything into my recycling corpse. What the who wrote this? By the time the violations of both corpse and conventions are over, the enemy team wins with like 253 kills each, when my team has a collective 3. If you haven't gotten how smooth this game is, here, let me demonstrate. I don't think I can pull any of that off. Oh my god. Do you get it now? It's so good. Play it. And if all that wasn't enough, this game had the audacity to grace us further by adding giant fucking anime robots to the mix. Each one so ridiculously diverse that it seems a little bit unfair. Not that fairness is a word that these people know. There's a bunch of different ways this game demonstrates scale. Some levels are set in a downtown area with coffee tables and street lamps, and others are giant complexes with crashed escape pods and ruined hallways. And on top of that, this game has one of my favorite FPS campaigns in the world, with great characterization, okay-ish boss fights, except this guy, and pretty diverse set pieces. The first level takes place in a jungle-like environment surrounded by the remains of a crashed ship. Then at a breakneck pace, you go to a factory that creates training simulations to an entire boss fight level taking place on a moving ship. This game really got it done amazing. Oh, it was made by EA. While doing research for this video, I came across this game called Enchain, and despite looking like another Doom Quake Ultrakill clone, this game really pulls you in quickly. I'm so good at comedy. Enchain is a Souls-like platformer with a heavy emphasis on combat and those I'm so badass moments from games like whatever, take your pick. You have a lantern that can also double as a grapple, which can also double as a healing syringe, and paired with a wall run kick jumping, it gives the game a really slippery, oily kind of feeling, kind of like a drum of lube was poured down on every surface. I especially like that when you grapple onto an enemy, you can shake them down for ammo, and then hold them into a dive, and I feel like Enchain really got the movement combat mix down really well. My complaint is that you can't really do much with an enemy when grappled except for throwing them and diving. I can't really say I like games with this lubed up feeling, but this one could really change my mind. BPM. I really like this game. BPM, despite what some heretics might say, is an absolute fucking masterpiece. Seriously, I played this game like once, and ever since, I can't stop trying to do things on beat to music that's playing through my headphones. I can't even tell if I did these before and was just not aware of it. This game is just so satisfying to play, and the added bonus of it being a roguelike is really making my 11 out of 10 fingers itch. This game is a roguelike first-person looter movement rhythm shooter. I can understand if your brain just had a stroke hearing all of those words in the same breath, but trust me, this game is a stroke of genius. God, I'm so bad at comp. It's got a distinct visual style that some people find annoying, but I find it pretty colors. There are a ton of different variations upon the main dungeons as well. Sometimes it could be zero gravity, other times it could just be completely frozen. And as well as that, there is a fucking banger metal soundtrack running with everything, and let me tell you, hitting a perfect ×4 multiplier with reloads and jumps and dashes on beat practically turns your jorts into a Jackson Pollock painting by itself. But then it adds the enemy sounds and the shots on beat, so by the time you're done playing it, you'll need a new house for how ruined it is. Why did I write this? And there is also a very diverse cast of weaponry. The revolver that is just so satisfying to use, the rocket launcher that I haven't tried yet, the bad pistol, shot Gussie, hunting rifle, all of them have their own range, precision, damage, and beats. Like, the revolver has 6 shots and 6, sometimes if you're fast enough, 3 reload beats. The hunting rifle has 4 shots, 4 cocks, and 3 reload beats. I'm not really the best at math. I've kind of failed that subject, but that doesn't really sound like it's divisible by 4, especially when there's a 4-4 time signature. The only complaint I have is that the music could do a little variation. More genres, instead of each level being this repetitive hard rock, make a couple levels jazz or psych rock. Take some inspiration from Guilty Gear, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Weezer. Some of these songs fit perfectly with the style of this game. It gets really easy to dodge the bullet hell and fire/reload on beat because the time signature never changes. Maybe a couple songs with a 5-4, 7-4, maybe even an 8-4 time signature could just ramp up the chaos, especially around boss areas, and it would be really fucking cool, adding a little mod support to just spice things up. People could add their own songs, their own bosses, maps, guns. It could become like a non-VR Beat Saber that's just Osu. Oh. Hoo boy, Turbo Overkill. I really wanted to like this game. From what I had seen of it, this game looked like a ton of fun. I mean, riding around a skate park with a smart pistol and a chainsaw leg, who the fuck wouldn't adore that? And then I played the game and I didn't adore it. Don't get me wrong, it was fun, I can't bring myself to like it. It started off pretty cool, sledding across maps with, let me reiterate, a chainsaw leg, mowing down everything that had a pulse, but then it just starts to get dull. The soundtrack is not balling. There's no good reward system or incentive to get better. We'll talk about that later. And it just isn't satisfying. The movement is weightless, shots are not punchy, and it's just not it, my guy. There's this feature where if you slide into someone with your, chainsaw leg, they take damage and die, but instead of tearing through them and slowing down a little, maybe covering the camera in blood and making an aggressive sound, you just fly through them, which it's not satisfying. The art style is classic indie game, low poly blocks with a chance of cuboids, and it's set in a dystopian cyberpunk city named Paradise that's being infected with some virus or something. It's zombies, just call it zombies. I found the style a bit distracting and overwhelming to look at. There's just so much visual noise, so much going on. There are no dull areas, and it's starting to make me feel like they were the same people behind Halo Anniversary. I mean, fucking hell, calm down with the unnecessary details. It gets really hard to tell the difference between a wall run and a regular wall. Enemies explode into a fountain of blood for no other reason than the spectacle, and it's just a volume that's just not fun to see. Does that make sense? I feel like that doesn't make sense. Design of the blood as well is really strange, more grayish red than the saturated fire truck red you'd normally get from a game like this. Now onto the positives. The variation in enemies is a fuck ton. You've got some blade arm zombies to shotgun wielding zombies to weird bird looking zombies. Okay, maybe the enemy variation is not that good, but killing them is a lot of fun. I can understand if your mind just a kickflip, considering I just spent the last 2 minutes talking about how the combat isn't that fun, but it is fun at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. Shut the fuck up. Now, I did play the demo for this game, so all of my criticisms or positives could have changed. I don't know. I don't want to pay another $20 for a game. My bank account is getting really tired of this. Last game on this list is probably the best game here. Fuck, what was it called? I can't remember. Something really calm and collected. There it is. I bought this game on a whim. I saw a couple of people playing it, and I went, hey, this looks pretty cool. And yeah, Ultra Kill's pretty cool. This game is the new Titanfall, I'm sorry. It is fast-paced, there's an amazing storyline, varied weapons, and some absolutely legendary movement tech. One of the guns lets you flip a coin, and if you shoot it, it will fucking ricochet towards an enemy's weak point. You could flip 4 of those, and they will chain ricochet to the next coin, creating this chain coin reaction that just makes you feel like an absolute fucking badass. There's just so much you could do with the coins alone. You can throw them, shoot them, chain them with the rail cannon, throw one in front of an oncoming enemy shot. You can fucking punch them. You can punch the coins and it adds up in damage. This game is the definition of perfection. The only flaws I can think of off the top of my head are that there's no multiplayer and that none of my friends own it. And one of those isn't even a flaw of the game. I mean, none of them are a flaw of the game, really. The design is the perfect mix of complexity and minimalism, and some devs could really learn something from it. It is the definition of simple yet effective. There's nothing on screen that doesn't serve a purpose. If it's there, you can either pick it up, shoot it, or both. Parrying shots gives this immense dopamine rush that carries you on throughout the whole thing. A combination of the freeze frame and bright flash just fills you with this rush of excitement, and I just can't get enough of it. There's an arena mode where it's just you, an endless wave of enemies, and it gives you the best moments in the whole game. What other games can you say let you parry a shot into a flame-throwing murder robot, slide hop onto an angel, and shoot it in the fucking triangle as you flip 3 coins, punch one, and shoot the rest with a railgun to explode a living statue? That is absolutely balling. That's what I thought. Ultra Kill is essentially the hypermobility of TF2 and Doom Eternal, with the graphic style of an old-school Quake title, with the style of any Devil May Cry game. Speaking of Devil May Cry, that's not the right segue. Speaking of style, this game is capital S, stylish. Practically everything you do has a part on that style chart right there, and if this isn't the best way to incentivize players to actually do shit, I don't know what is. A game telling you that you're a fucking badass is the best way to get people to be badass. At the end of each mission, you get this whole score chart with the time ranking, kills ranking, and style ranking, secrets, and a challenge, and all of those, most of those factors combine into the overall level score. And this brings me back to Turbo Overkill, with how to incentivize players. This style meter is the perfect incentive to get people coming back to the game because it encourages speedruns. Oh, I almost mispronounced that. It encourages speedruns, perfections, and other shit that you want to do. Getting a P rank on every single level in the game will unlock a secret level where you open a giant door, fight 2 bosses in a fucking row, and more recently. This game pays off so well. Each shot punches through the enemy, shaking the screen. Parrying a shot gives you a freeze frame and a quick flash of light that is just so fucking amazing when you get it right. You can shoot enemy shots before they've even been fired. It's amazing. It sets up expectations perfectly, and within the same 5 minutes, they subvert that expectation. The game gets you used to enemies that run right at you or just stay still, but then they introduce drones that swerve out of the way of projectile shots, and street cleaners that can spot dodge your attacks while using a flamethrower that can't be parried. Then they start making bosses from before, like Swords Machine, Cerberus, and the Hideous Mass, regular enemies that you fight all the time. And that's not even scratching the tip of the mobile enemies iceberg. You've got enemies that teleport faster, enemies that can traverse the arena in a single bound/dash. There is a boss that is so massive that all he can do is throw long, slow punches at you. The game is so diverse, and it fucks hard. I feel like if Hikito were to do what some people wanted, the game would be significantly worse. Ultra Kill encourages players to move with the skill of a Rainbow player and fight with the tech of the entire Imperium of Man. Ultra Kill is perfect. Play it. Do it. Play Ultra Kill. Play Ultra Kill, you puss. I just want to preface this outro by saying, just because I mentioned a title in this video doesn't mean I won't make a separate video about that game. I'm looking at you, Ultra Kill. Okay. This video was a bit much. I sort of talked about like every video game in existence, so I might take a bit of a nap for 6 years. I hope you all enjoyed my insane ramblings again, and hopefully I managed to get you to exhale slightly from your nose. Don't forget to like this video, it tickles the happiness center of my brain, and love yourself no matter how fast life is moving right now. Did that make sense? No. Yes. No, it didn't. Bye.